Yes, and welcome to another episode of Kick Out Podcast. It's the WrestleMania week. So, like, you know, WWE, we're probably going to put out various episodes during the week like they've been doing with all their content. We did last night's NXT TakeOver breakdown. We gave our predictions there. Today, we're solely focusing on the WWE Hall of Fame. And I cannot do this without my co-host, Max, WrestleMania UK. Thank you for joining me again. How are you, my brother?
I'm good. I was in my feels today watching that Hall of Fame. You know, a lot of people that I'm sure myself, yourself, Kinetik have grown up on. You know, I can say it now that people that we grew up on are now seeing them be inducted. Like all the time before, I was thinking I'm young. I ain't young no more because this has shown it. So yeah, it's mad.
See, Max, you started to realize what myself and our special guest has been going through for the past how many odd years now, that time really does fly. It really does fly. But let's introduce our guest. He's from the Breaking the Atoms podcast. He is in my opinion, not only a UK rap legend and soon to be a UK. If they were ever did a UK rap Hall of Fame, he'll be in there too. But he's also carving his own lane in the podcast Hall of Fame, because I'm sure him and my man Summit will get that eventually. They'll get their just due. Big up my boy Kinetik. He's been a friend of the show. He's been on the show before. Thank you for joining us today, Kinetik. How are you, my brother?
No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And I'm excited, man. You threw up the bat signal today. I saw the Thundercat sign. I said, yo, like Lionel needs some help. You know what I mean? So I just had to get into pants-throw mode. You know what I mean? And answer the call. No, I'm really happy to be here. And shout out to Mex. I've been listening to what's going on. I think he's a great addition to the show. And big up, man.
Everybody, listen. You know when you just you gamble and you gamble right. You know, I think I've done that with my assemble. I've assembled the kick out team. I'm gonna be straight up here. Shout out to Ace. Ace is my brother. But the kick out, you know, I've assembled the team, and Tay being a great addition, Flu being a crazy ass great addition. But we needed somebody to kind of be the spine of the kick out. Don't get me wrong, you know. Ace and I, we are the co-hosts and whatnot, and we can do the due diligence, but I feel like Mex will do the work that was not being done. Let's be real. And I appreciate Mex for joining. So thank you so much, Mex.
I'm glad to be here, guys. Thank you.
But that's my Hall of Fame speech done. That's my good on everybody.
You know what? Yeah, Skillet, bro. Like he's like this in real life, man. He's been to my house. Like Skillet is the closest thing we have in the UK to Busta Rhymes, and I mean that respectfully.
Nah, you can't insult Busta Rhymes like that.
No. I'm saying larger than life character. Like Skillet is like a live cartoon. Like he's gonna come out the screen. Like, and it's not. This isn't forced. This is who he is. Because I've been with him socially. I've been with him at shows. Like I've been to his house. He's been to my house. He is who he is. So I appreciate you saying that,
my bro. Speaking of house, what are you doing this weekend, Kinetik? I might have a few other people come around to watch the Mania.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like I'm just
I knew you were gonna start with that, bro.
You know what? Yeah, I'm just trying to get my mind around how much wrestling I have to watch this weekend, bro. There's too much. Like I don't know, man.
There's too much in it.
It's too much, bro. I'm overwhelmed, bro. I'm overwhelmed.
All right,
man.
Well, before we start talking about Hall of Fame, are you looking forward to just a quick summary for you, Kinetik, and your wrestling viewership recently? Are you looking forward to NXT TakeOver Part 1, Part 2, and WrestleMania weekend?
I'm looking forward to NXT more than WrestleMania. I just prefer NXT as a brand overall. I think the style of wrestling and the angles and how they build the characters and the storylines are just way better. It's more reminiscent of the 90s WWF that I grew up on, the mid-2000s TNA, and what I love about New Japan, all in one, with some high production value. I'm really looking forward to Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. I think that's going to
steal the show.
It will, and I know they've had matches before, but you know, it's almost like, you know, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, you know, you just put two people in the ring together and they have magic. So I'm really, really, really that's the match of the week, and that's the one I'm staying up for. Okay. And WrestleMania is cool. I'll watch it because I feel like I have to watch it, but I don't feel emotionally invested in it yet. But that could change because normally I get hyped like 2 hours before it starts.
Did you hear what apparently Bully Ray said on his show that NXT is a wrestling show where AEW is a sports entertainment show?
I agree.
I heard that, and I can get with that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I think he's onto something there.
Late last year, just quickly, sorry. Late last year when I was kind of watching them, I always kind of decide what I watch first on a Thursday morning, AEW or NXT. And there's always NXT just through loyalty. But then it switched because I realized that, just like he said, that this is actually more entertainment, AEW. And they're not sacrificing wrestling at all. There's still great wrestling there. But NXT, where people have kind of lost the love for it, is because it's going up against something that is entertainment. Before, we were fine with it just being just the solid wrestling product it was. But now it's being compared literally alongside something. That's where I guess it's not really winning people over.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of AEW. I was really happy just to have that alternative of something to watch. Kenny Omega all day. Wherever he goes, I go. But yeah, it's becoming a bit fluffy in places. It's definitely becoming a bit fluffy. But NXT for me, it's all about the alternative, isn't it? That's how I see it. And Skillet saw me at the NXT show at the Albert Hall. Ringside. You know what I mean? I pulled up nice. Ringside. I gave Skillet the salute.
You gave me the salute. You sent the kick out. You gave us permission to use some of your photos for us to put on our social media and stuff. So we thank you for that.
NXT is just wrestling. It's wrestling to me. Like I watch NXT and my body hurts after I watch it.
I think that's the wrestling NXT, I like. As of next Tuesday, NXT moves to Tuesday. So I think they're gonna probably regain a lot of what they're missing now, because that pressure of just being on the same night as someone isn't going to be there. Hopefully they just go back tunnel vision and do what they need to do.
Okay, well, let's talk about the 2020 and 2021 Hall of Fame ceremony. Finally took place. 2020 finally happened this year because obviously last year it was pushed back because of the COVID pandemic. Before we start breaking down both shows back to back, Kinetik, were you looking forward to this at all before watching?
No, I'll tell you why. Just because COVID's kind of messed up my enjoyment of wrestling in general.
Yeah.
But when I saw there was two people inducted that made me happy. One was the British Bulldog, because
absolutely. I know for a fact. You share that with me. We both share how much we love the Bulldog. We absolutely love it, bro.
It's years overdue. It's years overdue. And I was disappointed that he, even though he's not here in the physical, rest in peace, Davey Boy Smith, but they didn't get that fanfare that they'd normally get because of the pandemic. And RVD.
Yeah.
RVD, man. RVD was Hall of Fame worthy. If he stopped wrestling after ECW, he'd still be in the discussion for Hall of Fame.
100%.
For me.
100%.
Yeah, so I'm glad that he got his moment. I feel it was almost his world title run in WWE got cut short, and that didn't sit well with me. But I kind of felt like this was almost like his moment again to say, yo, like we respect what you did, So yeah, man, RVD, man, really happy, and Kane deserves it, man. Like.
There was a nice promo package on Kane's thing, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Max, obviously, because of COVID, they couldn't do it how they normally would do it in a great hall full of loads of wrestling fans, full of even wrestlers in the crowd. They couldn't do that, unfortunately. They had to do it in the Thunderdome in front of screens and pumped in fake crowd cheering. But the first inductee, obviously, Jerry the King Lawler actually, was the host, returned his role as the host, looking sharp, which I was happy to see. He did do a little weird thing, like, I'm not crying, you're crying, and it's a bit like, okay.
Come on, you're better than that.
Yeah, that was a bit like, come on. But the first inductee, because there was no inductees this year, it was just the promo package. Man, come on, do your speech. 3 minutes, you're out. That's literally what it was. But Jbl Speech, I want to talk to you both about this because, Mex, I want to hear your thoughts on JBL Speech, and I'm kind of interested to see where you're going with this, where you will go with this, because I picked up something, but I want to see if you picked it up too. So, your thoughts on JBL? First of all, being inducted in the Hall of Fame, is it worth? Is it just due? Is it rightfully so? Is he rightfully had the space in the Hall of Fame? And did you enjoy his speech?
I may be biased because I'm a JBL fan. I think it wasn't like it was one of these ones that we always say is overdue, but yeah, he deserves to be there 100%. His switch, his time as the APA was absolutely brilliant. His switch from that to this aristocrat kind of character as well was so well done. So many people hated him. Obviously, like he mentioned, he gave the rub almost to John Cena, and John Cena took the ball, ran with it. I think what you're talking about in terms of his speech was the mention of Eddie Guerrero.
That wasn't what I was alluding to, but let's talk about that as well.
Well, yeah, he did kind of pay homage to Eddie Guerrero and his possible involvement in the creation of the JBL character. And I think, like it was being said, I think mentioning Eddie Guerrero, I don't want to do a disservice, but it's an easy way to get a cheer, isn't it? It's an easy way to get a pop. Despite how
I want to make it clear that JBL and Eddie were close.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
They were friends. So I'm not gonna knock him for mentioning Eddie.
The story, I feel the story of how he told it to how he got to being JBL was just a bit disjointed. So yeah, that's just my opinion anyway. But yeah, I think that he was good. He brought a lot of good energy, to open the show with a very kind of interesting rah-rah speech at the end, closed it off as a heel. What did he say? Like anyone that he's meant to apologize to, he said sorry.
So that's what I wanted to talk about.
Like that. Yeah,
that's what I wanted to talk about. But before we get to that, Kinetik, your thoughts on JBL?
I'm gonna keep it real, bro. I haven't even watched the whole show yet. I've seen the clips. Keep it real. I'm not gonna come on your show and lie. I won't lie.
Okay, but what was your thoughts on JBL being in the Hall of Fame?
It's a must.
Yeah,
bro. Like it's a must. Like, bro, I used to watch SmackDown every Friday just to see this brother lose. Like, yeah. I ain't had that much venom for a man since Chris Eubank, bro. Like, I wanted him to lose, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And his matches with Cena, Eddie Guerrero, it makes sense to me why he would mention Eddie Guerrero, because these man legitimized him. You know what I mean? But like JBL, like Bradshaw is Hall of Fame. Just the APA stuff is Hall of Fame. Everything else is extra. So yeah, he deserves it.
I love how JBL mentioned Teddy Long, The Godfather, Ron Simmons, saying that these are his boys.
All the man.
Which is interesting though, because the JBL gimmick was borderline racist in some ways.
Yeah, but it's a character, isn't it?
Yeah, no. I took it that serious, innit? Like I thought, he's got black friends in it. You know what I mean?
Well, the reason why you take it that serious because you could probably see a little bit of a grey area there.
Yeah, back in them days, innit?
There's certain people that have black friends and Mexican friends and still a bit, borderline racist. So
absolutely.
So we'll leave it as that. One thing I wanted to mention was I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that Mr. Oh, Ryan, come on now. You can't take a joke. The bullying thing. Now, JBL is notoriously known for bullying wrestlers backstage and ring announcers and referees. You name it. You can name a list of, top of my head, Justin Roberts, bullying him out the company. So that Justin Roberts says. Mauro Ranallo, that had an issue with him. The Miz, even though the Miz fought through it and stuck with his guns and earned his respect, the Miz was bullied by JBL. You've had so many. Blue Meanie.
That's the one that came to mind.
I'm sure I'm missing out on so much more, but JBL. He had a thing with Joey Styles, and Joey Styles punched him out. The fact that he made a little joke about, for those who, and he did it like he was being serious as well. He's like, for those who I've ever offended or bullied or disrespected backstage, I was going to take this time to say, I am not sorry at all, you damn snowflakes.
Okay.
Like, yes, it's a heel thing, but WWE pride themselves in this anti-bullying campaign work that they do. And yet you're making light of somebody that actually really bullied people. I don't know. Like,
it don't match, innit? It's like if you're anti-bullying externally, you've got to reflect that internally. It's what we ask companies in general, just outside of wrestling. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, if let's say you say you're anti-racist, you put up your black square, right? But we want to see that work being done internally. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So me personally, I get the whole, keeping in character stuff, and my humor finds that funny. But I also know that particularly in 2021, as I'm older, you see the long-lasting effects that bullying can have on people's lives, and how bullying can affect people even into adulthood. Their confidence, their self-esteem. Even how they move in the workplace and at their home. It's nothing really to joke about, I think. That I don't really take offense at the joke. Maybe the platform and the time we live in, it was a bit ill-timed, in my opinion. Even though I've not seen it, but I will keep an eye out for it. But yeah, it's based on what you're saying, it's clumsy, I think.
You know what, Mex? Please give us your thoughts on because I want to talk about the British Bulldog. I want to talk about Von der Liger in a minute. Let's talk about Titus O'Neil before we talk about the rest of the okay.
The Warrior Award.
The Warrior Award. I'm gonna go get my MacBook charger. If you could just talk about the Warrior Award, thank you very much.
No problem. So, from my understanding, this award is meant to go to someone that's kind of went above and beyond for all kinds of causes and stuff. Titus O'Neil was the recipient of the Warrior Award for the 2020 Hall of Fame class. I think very much deserved. Obviously, this guy is a big humanitarian kind of figure, especially in Florida, especially in Tampa, where he's from. They told his backstory of, going to school. In school, he was labeled as a troublemaker. He eventually kind of fought through those challenges, made it to college, played college football, found his way into WWE. And, they said he was a massive character. This guy works more than 100%. Sheamus done a great speech for him backstage saying how hard this guy works, really put him over. And he's gone off into kind of making his own foundation using his WWE platform. He's supporting kids and families all over Florida, which is just example level work. For this to be as well, a black man that he came from hard beginnings. I think it was him that his mom had him at a super young age. Then he's raising two black boys in, this kind of environment that is America right now. Absolutely outstanding work. The one issue, according to the streets, not my words, is that everyone thinks that, especially the fact there was two inductions this year in terms of 2020, 2021, Shad Gaspard should have got this award. Obviously Shad Gaspard passed away last year, saving his son in an ocean. So I mean, I get it, but maybe Shad should have gone in this year, and Titus is obviously going to keep on doing this brilliant work, and he could have gone in another year. Titus is the host of WrestleMania this year, so maybe that's why they wanted to do it. It's interesting, but big up Titus at the end of the day still for the work he's doing.
I feel Shad probably will get the Warrior Award eventually. Sometimes you never know how these things play out. Maybe Titus was supposed to get his last year as well, and they didn't want to go back on that. I think I did like the fact that I don't really know much about the backstage employee that got it this year for 2021, but the fact that he did get it and he's been in the company business since Vince McMahon Senior, I kind of want to, I want to see more of that as well. Titus O'Neil, huge respect to him. You can see he's been doing all this charity work way before he joined the WWE. And the fact that he was such a great ambassador for the WWE for so many years, and the fact that he nearly lost his job for making a prank with Vince McMahon, kind of shows how crazy Vince McMahon is, Like, he's so essential to that company. Like, you can see how much Stephanie and Triple H adores him. And even Vince adores Titus O'Neil. Vince is just crazy. It's so well deserved. And it was really good to see that. And I want to see more of this from the Warrior Award, because I'm not gonna offend the other people who's won the Warrior Award before, because some people has rightfully so won it. But I feel like it needs to be a bit more about people who's done either backstage work at WWE for a very long time, served their due, or someone who is a great ambassador for the company doing a lot of charity work as well. That's what I think. Kinetik, what's your thoughts on the Warrior Award? Be real, my bro.
No, I like the idea of the Warrior Award, but I was confused that Titus O'Neil won it because I thought it was for sick youths, bruv.
Yeah, so this is the thing.
I'm confused.
Like, previously, it's gone to people from that kind of background. Previously, it has.
But so you know what it is? I ain't gonna lie. I feel like Titus is just getting mugged off. First, you give him the Warrior Award, yeah. First, that award is for sick youths, Then you have him host WrestleMania with a racist man. It's like, come on, man. Like, stop mugging him off, man. Stop it.
But you know what it is, Kinetik?
Just stop it, man.
He's always gonna get mugged off because he's
he's a yes man, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't say anything, man.
He's a yes man. Just happy to be there. I got time for Titus though. His suit game is mad. His suit game is mad. But you know what? I say bring back the primetime players, bruv.
That's a great point, because I was going to ask you guys that question. Best well-dressed person at Hall of Fame. And I think for men, it's Titus O'Neil.
Bro, we're black. You know what time it is when it's time for award. You know it. Bro, can you imagine what we would do if we was invited to the Hall of Fame? Are you mad?
Show out time, bro.
His suit game was incredible.
Mad. It's tailored. It's tailored. You can't get that off the rack. It's tailored. But no, big up to Titus O'Neil. I like to think of myself as a charitable person, so I'll never knock that. Maybe this is the new direction for the Warrior Award. Yeah, I guess he deserves some kind of recognition, but I was a little confused by it.
Like you said, maybe it is the new direction, because the guy that won it, that was a WWE employee, again, this wasn't someone that previously has been ill or had any kind of terminal sickness like all the previous winners seem to have had. So yeah, maybe they are trying to change up a bit.
This is what Warrior wanted the award to be. He wanted to be the
okay.
He wanted, if you look back at the Warrior speech in 2014, he said that the Warrior Award needs to big up the backstage staff and crew who does a lot for the business that doesn't get the recognition. That's what he wants. It seems like now they're revisiting it and be like, okay, let's just see what Warrior actually said that we should do instead of.
I didn't even put the two together. If that's it, then yeah, I'm rocking with it.
That's what Warrior said. That's what it should be about.
And but I'm rocking with it.
They put it to sick, children who have a timely disease or something that's wrong with them. That's a massive wrestling fan.
So based on what you're saying, maybe they. And this sounds dark, but like the whole giving the award to maybe sick or disabled children, maybe some people saw that as like a PR thing as well. Yeah, we can recognize these people, but charity in any kind of capacity will always get PR and press. Kids and old people will be all over that. But if that's what the Warrior wanted, I'm all for it. And Shad Gaspard, rest in peace. Like, if he was supposed to get it, I'm down with that too, and I'm sure he'll be recognized in some way. Like, as far as I'm concerned, he deserves his own statue.
Yeah, man, for sure. Rest in peace. Max, you brought up that Sheamus put Titus O'Neil over backstage. Let's talk about some other backstage segments. There's a British correspondent backstage
the Irish guy, Kevin.
They kept asking him, Kinetik, to go to all the black wrestlers, like the New Day, like the Hurt Business, and say, hey, what's your thoughts on the NWO being inducted this year? So when they asked, this is you can watch it back, you'll see.
Super cheeky.
They asked New Day. So he went up to Kofi, said, Kofi, what's your thoughts on NWO getting the Hall of Fame this year? Great. And this is what Kofi said. He went, yeah, man, top props. But you know what? The Bella Twins... I'm looking forward to the Bella Twins. I because I'm really close with the Bellas. We kind of started together, and to see where they've come, and I'm really happy for them. And then later on the show, same guy comes up to Hurt Business, MVP. What's your thoughts on the NWO being inducted to the Hall of Fame? I don't really care about any of those three initials. The only three initials that I care about is MVP. That's what I care about. And then. The guy on the mic says, oh, and maybe JBL, another Hall of Fame, obviously. And he goes, yeah, I'll give it to JBL too. Respect to JBL. And then Lashley said, yeah, you know what? I actually beat JBL for my first ever US title. They didn't mention NWO at all. The way they swerved it was perfect. Big up to those.
Can I just clarify what they did that because of the Hulk Hogan thing?
Of course.
There's
no coincidence in that. They never asked nobody else. I never heard him ask any other wrestler about NWO.
Yeah, but they know Hulk Hogan's hosting it, and I get it. I do like the fact that it seems like they had a discussion beforehand and said, "No, we're not going to give this man no airtime."
Yeah.
However, has it taken away from Scott Hall and Kevin Nash's moment?
Well, the good news is Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Six Park has had Hall of Fame already. They've got their rings already. Now, I know NWO should be a big deal because that changed the business. It's the best faction ever in any wrestling. I don't care what anybody says. It was the best until it messed up. It was the best. But we're in 2021 now, and a lot's changed since then, and Hogan has really... He's disgraced them all. He
damaged his legacy.
He damaged them. Like I feel, even like if you watch back the speech, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but even Kevin Nash looked a bit awkward being up there, man. There was a bit where Kevin Nash is standing and didn't want to stand too close to Hogan, even though they all gave it up to Hogan. They showed their respects, but at the same time, it was a bit weird. Like we'll talk about it.
It's guilty by association, isn't it?
That's right.
All of a sudden, you may not share the same views of this one person that happens to be the biggest person in the group and has got the biggest mouth clearly, but if I look like I'm overly pally with my man, then people might cancel me too. So Terry has to go down on his ones. Like I can't stand.
What did you say, Terry?
Yeah. 100%, bro.
All right, let's talk about the next inductee who, like Kinetik said earlier on the podcast, well overdue. Been waiting for this moment for a long time. It's damn shame that it's not in front of a crowd because he would have got cheered out of that building. The British Bulldog, rest in peace to Davey Boy Smith, rightfully, finally in the Hall of Fame, rightfully so. Max, do you have any fond memories of the British Bulldog? I was going to ask you that question about JBL as well. Some of your fond memories of JBL. So let's start with that. Did you mention it? You did mention some of that before.
I was a fan of his run with the championship, with the world title. I really liked that against a lot of people didn't. The story with Eddie Guerrero was brilliant, but obviously watching it with 2021 goggles, you just saw how wrong some of the stuff that happened in it. But I guess it was okay.
APA as well. Were you a fan of APA?
Loved APA. Absolutely loved APA. Loved the door. Loved everything about having to walk through the door. Very sad when they broke them up, but at the same time, I was happy when Bradshaw kind of reinvented himself. I was always, to be honest, more of a Bradshaw guy than Farouk.
Okay.
Wow, you called him Farouk, Wow.
yeah, man.
That's Ron Simmons, bro.
But you know what? I don't know what it is, and I've told Skillet this before. There's just something with me that just has never really connected with him.
What?
I don't.
You know what it is?
Really don't know.
You know what it is? He wasn't outside.
Oh, you don't know Jericho Ron Simmons. That's why.
No, you don't.
I've seen it in hindsight. Yeah, I've seen it in hindsight. I weren't out here
with the blue tights.
And the purple tights with the white boots. Come on.
The white boots and the headband.
I've seen it all in hindsight.
His finishing move was like the shoulder barge from the second rope or something. It was mad.
Yeah. So I've always kind of been a Bradshaw guy. And then for British Bulldog, again, nothing that I could say I really saw or remembered live, but I've seen back everything in terms of the build up to that Intercontinental Championship match at Wembley, which I just wish, I was probably 2 years old when that happened, and I just wish that I lived through that because that's immense.
Bro, this is what people need to understand.
Talk the thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk the thing.
Talk the thing.
Kinetik knows where I'm going with this.
Talk the thing, bro. Don't let me shed tears.
I think you know too. This is what people need to understand.
Come on now.
You see the debate between Brett and Sean. Don't get me wrong. Kinetik and I know for sure how great Sean is. We know.
Yes.
We know how great Sean is. Sean is one of the best. He's one of the greatest of all time.
We bow to Sean. Levels.
The thing where Sean is, you've got those WrestleMania matches that are always going to be seen as the greatest matches of all time because of the grandest stage that it's in. But if you look at Brett's matches, my bro,
at SummerSlam, he's Mr. SummerSlam.
SummerSlams, Mania,
WrestleMania, Survivor Series, every series. King of the Ring, 93.
Royal Rumbles.
Bro, King of the Ring, 93. Do you see what he did in one night?
Rings. Bret Hart has had WrestleMania matches
on a Monday.
On pay-per-view. on a regular Thursday night. You get what I'm saying?
Bro, do you know that SummerSlam match?
House show. Bret has had folklore matches on house shows.
Bro.
There's house show matches that are seen as 5-star matches because
what's the match they were looking for that whole time? What was the brother's name?
There's a video on it.
I saw it. Yeah. What was his name? There's a documentary on
it recently.
Yes, bruv.
For years. Listen, Bret. So when we talk about how special this match is, Mex, yeah. As a kid, this is how great Bret is, yeah. This is how great Bret is. Because when you're a kid, you don't know
the levels, what's going on behind the scenes.
What's going on in that ring properly. You don't understand the in-ring work that's really being put in. And I'm not saying Bulldog wasn't great on that night, but Bret Hart
carried him. Literally.
He made Bulldog look like a bona fide superstar. Like literally, after that night, I think everybody who was a wrestling fan the night afterwards was thinking Bulldog could go for that title. But the people who run the show knew that wasn't Bulldog's crowning moment. They knew that was Bret's crowning moment because they knew how great Bret and what Bret did on that match. That made Bret the star that he is.
And Bulldog was high on crack.
Yeah, Bulldog was on some next thing that day.
He was high. Bret said in his book, because I read it, he's like, yo, you messed up. Do what I tell you to do. I've got it all planned out. Imagine
and it was like butches that
didn't look like botches.
That didn't look like botches because Bret had to swerve his body, turn his body to sell
What a G. Bro, Intercontinental match main evented SummerSlam.
First time ever.
Bruv, are you mad? In Wembley, in the ends.
That was the first ever Intercontinental match main event, I think.
Yeah, in the ends, bruv.
That's correct. In the ends, Wembley. And if you look at Bulldog Bret Hart Part 2 in 95 in your house, one of my favorite matches of all time.
That's a sleeper. That
is very much a sleeper.
There was let's talk about Bulldog. Legend, first of all. Mm-hmm. You know what? Take away the Bret Hart match at SummerSlam. Bulldog had some really, really classic moments as part of the British Bulldogs. 100%. Can never, ever forget that. Some of their matches with the Hart Foundation.
The Rougeau brothers.
Rougeau's at SummerSlam 88. British Bulldogs are one of those tag teams that paved the way for enough of these, man. Yeah. I look at, you have Davey Boy Smith, the muscle man. Then you got Dynamite Kid, the athletic, fast one. So you look at how they influence the Hart Foundation, how they influence LAX.
How Dynamite influenced a whole generation of
Chris Benoit. Let's say it. All of that. The British Bulldogs need to be in the Hall of Fame too.
I agree, but we'll talk about that.
But no, Davey Boy Smith, man, like as someone who grew up on British wrestling too, I knew his importance. And yeah, man, like there's a certain people in the Hall of Fame who are debatable. We can go back and forth whether or not they deserve to be in it. But the British Bulldog deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because he gave us, okay, he might not have been sober throughout the match, but he was wise enough to listen to my man and say, do what I do. And he did it. And he did it well. It takes two people to have a good match.
The tango, yeah. Can I ask, I guess maybe you guys may know, what's the palaver behind why this has taken so long? Is there any actual reason, any beef within the family or with WWE? Like,
I don't think there's
such a finally moment for everybody. Like,
I feel personally, I think there's a list of people who we feel as wrestling fans, and I tread carefully not to speak for people, but there's certain names that should be in the Hall of Fame, and you can never please certain people because, I remember, Skillet, remember that video I did years ago, about 10 years ago. I felt Jake Robertson, Mr. Perfect, and Rick Rude should have been in it a long time. Yeah. Before they were put in there, but it takes time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it takes
time.
It
takes time. You can't.
I don't think it was a case of Bulldog would never be in the Hall of Fame.
No, we knew it was more a when, not an if.
When. And I think sometimes they got a space wrestlers out to keep this going.
Right,
especially if they want to go back to the old days, because the way wrestlers are getting inducted is quite fast, and soon enough
they're gonna run out of people.
We're gonna be inducted from 2005 soon. You know what I mean? Or 2008 maybe.
Yeah.
Like, so I think they need to space it out. Like, you know, Jim Neidhart got inducted in 2019. You know, Jim with the Hart Foundation. You know,
I think
Kinetik and I did the same thing when Rick Rude finally got inducted in 2007.
Bro,
we did the same thing. We fucking jumped for joy.
Finally, innit?
I think it's just to keep us engaged. You know, because obviously there's names today that I could like. There's no Vader yet. There's no Bam Bam Bigelow yet. Like, you know,
bro.
You know what I'm saying,
bro?
Like,
why is Vader? Vader, you know,
it's coming. It's coming.
You know, I'm gonna show my age. I don't even call him Vader. I call him Big Van Vader.
Big Van Vader, my G. But yeah, Bulldog. Yeah, I'm gonna say my favorite Bulldog memories. Yes, of course, Hart Foundation feud with the Bulldogs. Bulldog and Brett. Bulldog and Sean has some great matches. You know one thing I really like when Bulldog went WCW.
Yeah, a couple good matches there too.
Had a little thing with Sting.
Yeah,
the Allied Powers with Lex Luger.
Yeah, he had some decent matches over there.
His heel turn in '95 when he came back from WCW
with the tight jeans.
With the tight and no, not that one. That was in 2000. I was when he came back in '95 and he power slammed Diesel for Mabel.
Oh yes.
Mabel went to the ring and he turned heel. And then Bulldog had a great run as a heel, cut his hair, and then literally started rejoining the Hart Foundation with Pillman and Owen and.
We got to shout him out for his hairstyle as well, for what he did. Like, you know, with the braids and the beads. Yeah.
You look them braids good though.
They looked all right, you know. I ain't gonna lie. They look, and you know what? Have you noticed if you go back and watch Canadian Stampede, right? You know when they're standing at the top of the ramp and the music's playing? Look at how Bulldog's clapping in rhythm, bruv, and he's doing his like, bruh, Bulldog grew up around Mandem. From the braids to the rhythm, I'm telling you, he grew up around Mandem, bro. He was clapping like he was in church. He was doing that and doing all of this, and I'm like, yo.
But you
go
know
back
what?
and watch it.
Nice speech from his son. What's his son? Harry Smith.
Harry Smith.
You know, who carved his own lane in Japan and independent wrestling. I don't think we'll ever see Harry Smith back in the WWE ring, but it's good to see that they have that good working relationship. And he could, you know, and he was there for his father, and you know, they got Matilda's Matilda's grandson or granddaughter.
Matilda was the dog, man.
Yeah, but they brought
the dog,
grandchild of Matilda.
The real grandchild.
Yeah, that's what they said.
No, that's wild. That's wild. That's
wild.
It
was sick. It was nice. And Bulldog's daughter was there, and obviously Diana was there. So it was really lovely to see.
His daughter looks like him, innit?
So it does look like him.
I saw a picture of her on Instagram. I'm like, that is really his child. Like, looks just like him.
But and Harry looks like his father too.
Yeah.
Apparently Harry has been lobbying for a place. They're possibly looking at getting him back into NXT.
NXT UK?
No, just mainstream NXT, because he finished up his stuff with Japan. He done a blood sport match maybe about a month ago now with Moxley.
With Moxley, I saw that. Yeah.
So he's a free agent right now. So he has apparently had talks with Triple H to come.
Oh, so there we go. So he might join NXT. That'll be good to see.
I'm with that. I think the time is right for that.
Yeah, me too.
The time is right for that. No, rest in peace, British Bulldog, man.
British Bulldog, man. One of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Another favorite of all time for me was next up. This was a beautiful moment. I mean, it wasn't long.
Liger.
It was quite short. It's something Kinetik knows that I've wanted to see all my life.
Absolutely.
I've even had interviews with Finn Balor. I've had interviews with Kevin Owens back in the day about possibly seeing this for one day. And it's finally happened. Yusuf von der Liger getting his rightful place in the Hall of Fame. And he's not in as a Legacy Wing member. He's in as a Hall of Famer. Which is great because obviously he had one match for WWE and NXT a few years ago against Tyler Breeze, which I interviewed Tyler Breeze about on the Kick Out podcast. If you go back in the archives, you can listen to that interview. I mean, this man, special. You know, I first saw this guy in Eurosport. NJPW. Shout out to my boy Madassa, who sometimes listens to the Kick Out podcast. I hope he still tunes in this year. He was the man that brought me into tape trading. Round the corner from my house, I used to knock on his door, ask for the latest tapes that he had. he gave me some NJPW tapes, and I fell in love with this man. Juice von der Liger had great bouts with Chris Benoit, great bouts with the great Sasuke, the great Muta. So I could say so many names right now, but I'm not going to bore everybody. But Liger so deserves this, and I'm so glad WWE has given the recognition and the props that he deserves. And obviously, he had a great stint in WCW as well. He was in WWE for a very long time to continue that legacy against Rey Mysterio, Ultimo Dragon,
Pillman.
Pillman. His matches against Pillman were classic. I had a tape. I had a Liger versus Benoit series tape, which I'm gonna find actually. It's still in my parents' house. So I'm gonna find this tape, and next week after Mania, I'm gonna put it up for the camera. Liger versus Pillman, and I had Liger versus Benoit, all in VHS, all their matches. So I don't think those tapes will work today, but I know the Super J Cups as well. Oh my god!
You put me on you and your brother. I never forget. I came to your house and you played Super J Cup '94, and I was just like, yo.
Super J Cup '94 and '95. Liger run riot. Even though Liger didn't win '95, he won '94. But there's some. I'm so happy that he got in, and the promo was very sweet. He said he felt goosebumps. He felt shy talking about it. But yeah, it's good to see him get inducted to the Hall of Fame, especially with the great career he had in NJPW and him getting his send-off last year. It would have been nice to see the send-off last year and straight into the Hall of Fame. That would have been a perfect transition. But what are you guys' thoughts about Juice von der Liger in the WWE Hall of Fame?
Again, this is someone that revolutionized cruiserweight wrestling, junior heavyweight wrestling as we know it. Obviously, I'm more familiar with stuff he done in WCW. Which was great, entertaining. Obviously, helped pave the way for the likes of the Rey Mysterios, people that you mentioned, Benoit as well. Saw a lot of their bouts. And in the recent years, where I've kind of been tuning into NJPW in the last 4 or 5 years, I've seen him do work, putting over the younger guys as well. Just a complete legend, and he was so humble with his speech and everything. It was literally like they just told him right there and then, you're going into the Hall of Fame. Like, he was so lost for words, didn't know what to say. And he still looks pretty healthy, as much as you can see from him from under a mask, but he still looks in good nick. So
one thing I would notice, there's certain things I would have liked WWE to mention that could have really drive home why this man is such a legend and such an innovator for wrestling, because like he's the first person to ever do the shooting star press in wrestling, and they could have said that because the shooting star press has been emulated and copied for so many different wrestlers throughout the years. The Billy Kidmans, what's that lady that Booker T coached? I can't remember her name now. She started
her name's Angela, but she's changed her wrestling name.
She's at NXT now, isn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, Will Ospreay's, the Evan Bournes, there's so many wrestlers that do shooting star press, and it would have been great to drive home that the first one to ever do that in a squared circle was Juice von der Liger. Also mentioning that fact that this man used to wrestle with brain tumors. He had 2.
Really?
Yeah, bro. In the mid-90s, he wrestled and he had to go away for a bit because he did the brain tumor surgery to get removed, and he came back again. And he survived 2 brain tumor surgeries and still wrestles like the man that he is. And I mean, they probably didn't want to talk about all of that, but I definitely could have mentioned the whole shooting star press thing. I felt for me could have been a bit more of an important point. But Kinetik, before we sign off on the Liger bit and we move on.
You know how I feel, man. Like we're artists, innit? We're rappers. Certain man rap, certain man taught man how to rap. You apply the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can bring up your Jay-Z's, but you got your man like your Cool G raps and all that. You're not like he's the Cool G rap of wrestling, man. Like whoever you look up to, there's always that family tree. You can always find the root. Like I remember buying WCW magazine back in the day. Like you got to remember, like Japanese wrestlers coming over to the American promotions and seeing them on TV was a rarity. There was no YouTube, bro. I remember seeing Sting and Great Muta thinking, raw, this is mad. You tell me a man caught the plane from Japan to come over, yassa, figure fight, man. So I was like, when I saw Jushin Thunder Liger, I'm like, he was different. He stood out, his mask, the way he moved. It's just like, man, it's synonymous, bro. Like I think even if you're a casual wrestling fan, you know what time it is with Jushin Thunder Liger. The name alone, like he's like a living superhero.
I need to see the Great Muta next, my friend. It's got to be.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's when, not if. It's got to be.
I fear they might give the Great Muta the legacy wing because he's never wrestled for WWE. But who knows? I could be wrong. Tatsumi Fujinami never wrestled for WWE, and he's a Hall of Famer.
Well, so, I think things are changing, isn't it?
And some people are bigger. Some people are bigger names that they have to get that Hall of Fame.
Yeah, like Jushin Thunder Liger. You can't. His name is so big, right? Putting him in the legacy wing is a disrespect.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of the legacy wing, let's talk about the 2020 legacy wing before we talk about the 2021. I was a bit surprised that some of these names on this list should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm gonna be real. Like Ray the Crippler Stevens, right? Ray the Cat Stevens should be in the Hall of Fame. That man has done some legendary things, and I'm surprised the game. I mean, I'm happy he's in a legacy wing because for whatever reason they didn't want to put him in the Hall of Fame. But this next name I'm gonna say, I'm shocked that he's in the legacy wing, and that's Dr. Death Steve Williams.
Really,
brother? Dr. Death Steve Williams is in the legacy wing. He's not a Hall of Fame.
Really?
Like, this man is arguably one of the biggest famous international wrestlers, American Transport. What he did in Japan, it's kind of similar. I don't want to. It's going to be a bit controversial because, obviously, who got inducted in 2019? Was it 19 or 18? What year did what's my man named that JBL copied his whole style from again? Stan Hansen. That's it.
Right.
Remember, yes. Remember, JBL took his whole style from Stan Hansen, even the clothesline and everything. So Stan Hansen and Dr. Destiny Williams were both like that American international star that was massive in Japan. Like massive, like mega massive. So massive that Dr. Destiny Williams was going to be the one to have a big rival feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's right.
But what WWE did was hoping that he would win the Brawl for All because he was seen as a really legit tough
and he got punched up.
But he got punched up. He got beat up. I think the Godfather. Did the Godfather whack him up?
Yeah,
no, Bart Gunn.
Bart Gunn won the whole thing, innit?
Bart Gunn whacked him up, and that's the reason why they were upset with Bart Gunn and put him against Butterbean for him to get beat up.
Yeah, they weren't happy that he won, did it?
But I'm so surprised Dr. Destiny Williams wasn't. But I'm not upset that he's in a legacy wing. This is what this is what this is built for. Some people can't make the Hall of Fame, so to honor them and their achievements in the world of wrestling, they're in the legacy wing. So big up Dr. Destiny Williams. Brickhouse Brown, another legend, was also in the legacy wing. I don't know much about Michele de Leone. I think he was an Italian wrestler.
Italian guy. I think he said he was like a great manager or something like that.
I didn't know enough much about it, but Gary Hart, another legendary manager from World Class Championship Wrestling and in WCW, he was the manager for the Great Muta when he came over to America and did American wrestling. Gary Hart, another legendary manager who I would have thought would have been in the Hall of Fame, but legacy wing is all right with me. So that was the 2020 legacy wing. Max, I think I'm going to edit some of that stuff before we put it out, so we'll talk about that.
That's cool.
Yeah. And let's keep it moving. I guess we got the Bella twins to talk about now. Yes, the Bella twins. Max, let's come to you first. Are they deserving of this Hall of Fame?
Yeah, but this is one of the ones that is what some may argue is a bit early, where we were talking about, getting people in early and mixing up with some of the older names. They deserve it, I think, 100%. They were pretty much the catalysts behind the women's evolution or revolution. Obviously, a lot of women came before them and done absolute bits. They were never really the best of wrestlers. Nikki got there later on in her career, I think. But what they did is kind of make WWE return to the mainstream in a new way through reality TV, which was obviously very big at the time, still very big, growing kind of industry. But they kind of then introduced WWE to a whole lot of female fans who then obviously came watching the actual product, looking for these characters, and they were at the front of that. They then kind of span off and had their own reality TV show. She had Nikki Bella had a public relationship with the biggest WWE superstar at the time, John Cena. Brie is married to Daniel Bryan, has 2 kids. Really nice induction speech from them, where they both credited John Cena. She credited Daniel Bryan as well as to teaching them and stuff like that. There was a sly dig by King when he was introducing them, which I didn't like. King King basically said that these are the girls that made Daniel Bryan famous. He said something along those lines.
I noticed that.
I was thinking, is this guy mad? As if Daniel Bryan's talent couldn't carry him. I mean, yes,
maybe he means like mainstream visibility. Like,
I think that's obviously what he's leaning at, but I think that's just him wanting to maybe have a dig at the indies or something.
He needs to shut up, innit?
Exactly. It wasn't cool. But I think these guys deserve it. I still think they've got legs to come back, have a women's tag championship run, really make those belts mean something, because at this point they're probably the only people that can, other than Sasha and Bayley. I was happy with the inductions. Good to see them getting recognized.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're spot on. They did bring a whole new wave of audience, young women, young girls. I remember like certain family members and certain friends that don't even watch wrestling that I know would watch Total Divas, Total Bellas, because of the Bella twins, and then learn a song about the business that way. So that's when I realized, okay, you know, these women do bring something to the table, because
that was my missus into wrestling. She
there you go.
Wrestling. She used to think, whatever. She half cared about Naomi being a black woman. Yeah. And then when she saw Total Divas is on, she used to see it being advertised during the main product. She'd go out, she'd seek into it, she'd watch it. Then she kind of got more into it, understood what I was enjoying about this.
There you go. So, you know, I was never really a fan of the Bella twins or the ring work or anything. But yes, Nikki Bella did improve as time went on. Nikki thanked John Cena, and obviously Brie thanked her husband Daniel Bryan, and they called John Laurinaitis their father, because I know he's married to their mother. So that was nice. So Kinetik, your thoughts on the Bella twins and the whole
I don't really care, bro.
Cool. Let's move on. All right, let's talk about the last inductee.
No, I'm being honest, man.
I know. I respect it. That's your opinion. That's fine. That's what we got you on here for, man. The last inductee to the 2020 class of Hall of Fame. Now, Max is wearing a shirt that I currently own, the Austin 316 shirt, the iconic shirt. But there was another shirt that I used to own in the mid-90s, 96, 97. I had the black and white NWO shirt.
I've got that too.
And let me tell you something, yeah? Walking into school, kids used to be jealous of me, man. I used to walk in, and we had uniform.
You were disobedient. You were disobedient.
I used to rock the NWO shirt. That's the show off. Obviously, I put on the uniform afterwards, you get me? But listen, you can't beat these times, man. You can't beat these times. These were epic times. And
when you used to watch Raw and Nitro with two TVs next to each other, are you mad?
Listen, in our household, it was TV downstairs, TV in my brother's room, and we used to channel surf. So we hijacked. My brothers had the TV upstairs, so they could watch it upstairs. But I used to hijack the TV and say, "Mom, Nitro's on." My mom was like, "All right." And I watch Nitro with my brother Andrew. Shout out to K Night. We'll watch it, and then from upstairs, you hear my brother Stefano Mentalist be like, "Yo, Chris Jericho was just showing up for Raw." What? Bang! Change the channel. Jericho's doing the arms out. Listen, these are vivid memories, my guy. Elite and NWO was a big part of that. I used to love the whole NWO run. You cannot deny them as the Hall of Famers, no matter what controversially with Hogan, whatever. You can't deny it. It was the right thing to do to induct these guys. It's just, and I'm kind of glad these guys are inducted in front of no crowd. I've ordered for all the people because of Hogan. I'm glad they didn't get no crowd. I'm glad because I don't want Hogan getting cheered for any rumble ass. So, but yeah, great memories of NWO. I vividly remember Scott Hall invading Nitro like it was yesterday. I remember Kevin Nash showing up and Sting slapping.
We're not here for play.
Listen,
we're not here for play.
Remember when Sting slapped the toothpick out of Razor's face? Remember all of that. I remember when Kevin Nash powerbombed Eric Bischoff through the announce table. I remember when Hogan was the third man and Hogan's classic promo after that. I remember them attacking Rey Mysterio, throwing him against the freaking production truck.
Yeah.
Like a dart, the spray can. I remember Six joining. I remember Ted DiBiase joining. I remember all the stupid people that joined after. Yeah, which was not necessary. I remember Big Show. I remember when Giant joined. That was a massive one when Giant joined. Oh man, so much great memories. The Sting feud with NWO was perfectly booked until the following year, and they start doing red and white and black and red and all this nonsense. But what a great time to be a wrestling fan when NWO run riot. Chris, let's go to you first. Kinetik, give us something. Yeah,
NWO, one of the greatest. They're the greatest faction.
Yeah, they are.
They're not my favorite, but they're the greatest.
They are the greatest. Exactly.
They're the greatest. My favorite is Dangerous Alliance.
Shout out. Go on.
I'm saying NWO, like what they did for wrestling, man. Like anti-heroes from the branding. There's nowhere in the world you can go now. Like you can wear an NWO t-shirt now, and then people will see you and know what time it is. Do you know what I mean? Like I remember one time I was on the beach in Dominican Republic. I was wearing a Bullet Club shirt. People came up to me and started talking to me off the strength of the shirt, and that's Bullet Club. So you can imagine what like NWO is a brand unto itself. The matches like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash leaving WWF having bigger careers outside of WWF. A lot of people don't get that. Now they changed. NWO was bigger than wrestling, man. It was popular culture, way bigger than wrestling. I didn't
want to cut you off. When you mentioned Dangerous Alliance, I was going to say shout out to Bobby Eaton because he needs to be
most underrated ever.
One of the most underrated wrestlers of all time.
Excuse me.
Listen, that's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite wrestlers, bro.
Excuse me. Yeah? Listen, let me talk the thing. Yeah, you see Bobby Eaton. Yeah,
beautiful Bobby Eaton, my guy.
TV title matches. Are you mad?
Listen,
come on.
Listen, that guy needs to get Hall of Fame recognition. If it's a legacy or something,
don't get me angry. Don't get me angry. You see the Dangerous Alliance? Yeah, I put them up against any man. Had Rick Rude and Steve Austin together. Are you mad?
They really flopped. WCW flopped so many things.
Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko, the Enforcers. All right, don't get me started. NWO though, man, like popular culture.
Would you have more of a memory of NWO when they're running the WWE than the WCW?
No. It's WCW. It's WCW.
This was my into wrestling. So
them in WWE?
In WCW.
Okay.
So I was watching WCW before I found out there was a whole Monday night thing going on. Still very young in my childhood. Obviously knew Hulk Hogan come over. And then I literally remember the night when the whole ring was just full of crap from them getting thrown at all this stuff when Hogan joined and literally them running riot. Very happy. It was unfortunate the way they kind of split them by years. It would have been amazing if Eric Bischoff kind of was put in with them or something like that, but he needed his own flowers.
He definitely needed his own flowers.
And glad he got it like that. But I don't know what it was. Even from a child, I loved Bischoff. Like there was just something about this guy that you could just see, and seeing his story, which we'll kind of probably get onto later, and just how he climbed the ranks into his position in WCW is just an amazing story in itself. But NWO, everything for me, it was Kevin Nash and Razor Ramon. Yeah, man. At the time, it was Razor Ramon made the switch.
Come on.
So and I loved Diesel because of everything he kind of done with Shawn Michaels. I've never been a Hulk Hogan person, even before the tomfoolery.
Yeah, but, bun him.
Yeah, I enjoyed him in NWO. But yeah, it was Kevin Nash and Scott Hall for me all the time.
Oh man, well, yeah.
Like I'm telling you, Skillet will know. Like NWO was different. It was different. I've got a
friend called Paul. In school, he would throw up the too sweet. The guy's massive. He does that, and I'm the one running up to him, doing the little, jump. That was our thing. Like,
you know why I hate as well? It's because WWE became the victors of the feud. They will like to rewrite history and tell you that DX was defect.
No, don't lie.
But that's what they would like to do. Right?
No, but I'm not stupid, innit? Don't do that.
Yeah.
But to anyone watching today, that's the narrative. This is literally a scenario of you had to be there.
No, you won't not listen. I don't even put DX in my top 10 factions. Yes, said it.
Same man.
I've never worn black and green.
WWE going against NWO, literally, if you didn't know any better, that's the narrative. DX.
Because
they can write their own history, can't they?
But that's their fault. We have YouTube.
But NWO, I'm telling you, DX can. No,
can't test them.
the packaging,
the
everything.
swag.
There's a reason why Bullet Club is more influenced by NWO than DX today.
That's true. Very true.
That's what it's saying.
NWO change things, bro.
All right, let's talk about 2021. Before we do that, big up William Shatner. He got the celebrity inductee in 2020. Had some funny. I forgot about all those fun promos he did with Jerry the King Lawler on Monday Night Raw. That was hilarious. When he did a monkey flip. No, there was some bit. There's a bit when Jerry said, I remember this as a kid as well, loving this. When he said, so what? This is more of a special. What's more special than you standing in the King's Court with Jerry Lawler today? And he goes, I can think of one. What I did yesterday. Oh, what did you do yesterday? He goes, chew gum.
It was good the way he dropped it still.
Bro, the way he dropped it was hilarious. And then he did the monkey flip. When he monkey flipped Lawler out the ring. I forgot about all of that. I forgot about when he came back in the mid 2000s and did the theme song, talking at the theme songs. Like
he's getting up there in age, isn't it? William Shatner. He's a hardback man now, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. His acceptance speech was hilarious as well. He's like, all the great. I'm from Montreal, and Montreal has one of the greatest wrestlers, superstars of all time, and I think it's only right that I'm up there with them. We made a really funny. Like he was in character.
It's the delivery. The delivery was A1.
Yeah. He's 90 years old.
Is he?
Yeah.
90.
Remember when Captain Kirk in the 60s was laying down alien gal?
Bruv, he was licking down the man in the solar system, bro.
Laying down green for JJ. Purple and green for JJ.
Bro, these men have been outside for a very long time.
For a very long time. He was in the Twilight Zone as well. That makes sense. He was in.
Respect to William. Respect to William Shatner.
Yeah, William Shatner. All right, 2021 started off with Mr. Monday Night.
Yeah, Rob Van Dam.
Rob Van Dam was the first inductee. I always say he should be the last, but in terms of popularity, Kane deserves to be the last. But Mr. Monday Night, you talked about him earlier. Let's hear it. And Max, we're going to come to you as well because I know how much Rob Van Dam means to you as well, my brother.
My brother.
Max, let's go. Rob Van Dam finally getting his Hall of Fame.
Go on, Kinetik, go.
I'm going to say, listen. You see Rob Van Dam, yeah? One day, this is in ECW's heyday, innit? I received a tape at my house. All it said was ECW living dangerously, right? I watched a match with Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn.
Jerry Lynn. Come on, let's go.
Mic drop.
Bro, I have to get up out my seat, bro.
Top
match still. Top match.
So you know what, yeah? It's funny that you mentioned that, yeah, because there's certain matches that changed the game. You get what I'm saying? You had the Tiger Mask Dynamite Kid in the 80s. Changed the game. You had, like, if you look about in a modern day instance, Willow Spray Ricochet. You can say that changed the game. The Kenny Omegas and Okadas changed the game.
Let me tell you something. You see RVD and Jerry Lynn? Certain people are put on this earth to be together, innit? Raekwon and Ghostface.
Yeah.
They are the Raekwon and Ghostface of wrestling, bro. Him and Jerry Lynn.
Why were their matches so outstanding? Everyone.
Hard.
They were unbelievable.
Hard.
And
Jerry Lynn was my favorite, though.
I used to prefer RVD, but Lynn was my guy too. Lynn was my guy too.
RVD, bro. Even with the invasion, bruv, these men were supposed to boo him. They started cheering him, bruv.
He was the most over wrestler when he joined WWE. The most over.
Bro, they started cheering him. He was wrestling Jeff Hardy. You know, Jeff Hardy was so popular, innit?
You can't boo RVD, man. You
can't because he's one of us. He's one of us.
Do you remember
his match at One Night Stand with Cena? Like that atmosphere, bro.
Electric.
Come on, man.
The match he had with Jeff Hardy in Invasion 2001. One of my favorite matches.
His matches with Sabu. Heatwave 98.
RVD versus Bam Bam Bigelow.
The TV title match.
RVD versus Lance Storm.
Bro, okay, hold it.
RVD versus Chris Candido.
Bruv, you see, okay, one day we're going to talk about Lance Storm. I'm coming back to the show to talk about Lance Storm. Right?
100%.
My guy. Rob Van Dam, even what he did for wrestling fashion, bro, like his tights, I've never seen him wear the same tights twice, bro.
No. Always
the design is mad.
You know those are self-made.
Bruv, I know, it's mad.
Yeah. He's sick.
His frog splash, best frog splash, man turns in midair. Excuse me.
I still feel. I don't know if you remember Art Barr.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has the
Eddie
best.
Guerrero's partner.
Yeah, I think he has.
Rob Van Dam turns in midair, bro.
I've always gave it to Art Barr, and I love how Eddie used to do it as well.
Nah, Rob Van Dam turns in midair. When he bounces off the mat, he holds his stomach just to let you know the levels. Nah, it's too much, bro.
Sells it 100.
It's too much, bro.
Max.
His matches with Taz. What?
Levels, it's true. I mean, there's nothing.
Tommy Dreamer. We had a great match with Tommy Dreamer as well. I remember when Tommy Dreamer power drive RVD, and RVD sold it when he bounced off.
And from his neck.
From his neck. I mean, that guy was different. Yeah. Max, sorry, let's hear your thoughts on.
Yeah, man, it's literally just the new element he brought to the game. It's this martial arts style wrestling. He's one of the innovators, one of the pioneers for that, coming into wrestling and just doing it so well. Like you guys have mentioned, this is someone at times that it was designed for him to be the heel, but we can't buy him as a heel because the man's too good. He's too good. This is someone that was never, no matter where he went, he wasn't corporate made. He was one of us, like Kinetik said. Like he was, and that's that connection. It can't be made by a machine or a big company or corporation. You just see someone that maybe resembles you, has the same lifestyle choices and all of that kind of stuff that you can buy into. And like they put after One Night Stand, which was a brilliant main event. They put the title on him. I believe there was a misdemeanor on his half, so
he got caught with weed.
That's why they took the title off him. Yeah. So he never really got the run he deserved, at the biggest company in the world, etc. But at the end of the day, from what he just gave us in that ring, some of the legendary matches you guys have mentioned, the WWE Championship is almost second to everything else he gave this industry. So,
bro, he told John Cena, he says, "Listen, man, I'm coming to One Night Stand to bust your head in it." At the time, no one ever did that.
No one has planned the money in the bank. Yeah,
bad man, a real bad man. Yeah, 100. Robert Van Dam.
And his speech, he said in his speech that the Sheik told him, there's gonna be some people that tell you stuff and you take it in and stuff like that. There's gonna be some people that tell you stuff in this industry, let it just go in one ear and come out the other. And I just felt like even if that was a dig to some things he may have went through in WWE, like it's just like you said, he's just one of us. He's just a real guy, man. So
I loved his speech as well. Yeah. I love this speech. One thing about Rob Van Dam I really like is like he is who he is who he is. Like he's never changed. Mm-hmm. Like he's never changed. Like whether he's doing a promo, whether he's talking, he is who he is, man. And I love him for that. Like I love him for that, man. Like Rob Van Dam is so important. He's so important. And like I said at the beginning, even if he didn't come to WWE, he was a Hall of Famer in ECW. I'm sorry.
For sure. Yeah, man, Rob Van Dam definitely deserves this space. I was going to ask you guys something about RVD, actually. Yes, this is what I was going to ask. He's birthed a lot of kids. He's birthed a lot of wrestlers today. The Kenny Omegas, the Parks, the Willow Sprays, the Ricochets, like all these wrestlers wouldn't be here without that guy. And there's a lot more that I'm not mentioning as well.
They need to send him a Father's Day card, man, every year.
They need to send him a Father's Day card.
I mean, we're still living through a generation where, who was the wrestler you grew up on? Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. We're still living through that kind of generation. But it will be abundantly clear the following generation. Even we can see with the Aleister Blacks, you can't tell me that you ain't watched the Rob Van Dam match and be inspired with the way that you present yourself and your offense. So he is definitely going to be named in the next batch of upcoming wrestlers of influences, 100%.
I'm with you. Well said.
Well respect to Rob Van Dam. Well deserved.
We could literally talk about Rob Van Dam all day, bro.
Yeah, we could definitely do. I think we should start getting you involved when we talk about maybe a whole wrestler's career from start to finish.
Bro.
And we'll get you involved in that.
I watch Living Dangerously. I watch that match at least once a month. When Jerry Lynn said 5 minutes, every time I watch, I'm like, no, don't do it, bruv.
Classic. Such a classic. Molly Holly was the next inductee to the WWE Hall of Fame. Yeah, well deserved.
Yeah,
well deserved. I'm not mad at it at all. She had some great matches. Had that famous match against Victoria at WrestleMania. famously was part of the Holly family with Crash Holly and
rest in peace,
Hardcore Holly, and had some really fun segments with the Hurricane as Mighty Holly. She used to wrestle in WCW before she joined the WWE. A very good in-ring worker at a time where a lot of women's wrestlers wasn't booked to be an in-ring worker. They were more booked for their extravagant looks and their sexiness and their sex appeal. Molly Holly stood out in her own way. I don't think I'm gonna come to both of you about your favorite Molly Holly moments, because I don't think.
I don't really have many, but what you said there in terms of the work rate and just how she deserves her flowers.
Yeah, definitely. Big up to Molly Holly.
She's someone that put her hair on the line for that Victoria match, because they weren't even going to have that match at WrestleMania. Then she said, "I'll put my hair on the line if you give us that match." And
she started her speech. She started her speech with a really funny line. She said, "Only two people has put their hair on the line at WrestleManias. One is the most influential powerhouse in wrestling, and the other is Vince McMahon."
Yeah, so
that was a good line.
Cool. And then I remember from, I think it was Beth Phoenix from maybe 2 years ago when she got inducted. She told a really nice story about Molly Holly, about how Molly Holly paid for her wrestling school and all of this kind of stuff when she never had enough money. So on top of everything, it just seems that she's just a genuine, decent human being, and that's why she got major props from everyone going when she got inducted.
A lot of people have nothing but nice things to say about Molly.
That's dope. I forgot that Beth Phoenix story, and off the strength of that, I think what you could say what you want to say about people's wrestling ability, but we should always big them up for being good humans. So
that's exactly
100%.
Respect to Molly Holly. Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, she's an important part of the Attitude Era. Definitely.
Yeah, man. Great Khali.
Nothing to say.
Again, this is someone that I don't have anything really great or positive to say about the in-ring stuff, but for what he's done as an icon, I can't lie, I got kind of worried when they said that he's done a lot in terms of training the next kind of Indian batch of superstars. I thought training but he's India is like one of WWE's biggest markets.
It could be motivational training,
maybe
bro.
It could be getting them into training, paying for their tactical training. Who knows what they mean by that?
I speak to my co-host about this Summit all the time. I said, "You man kept this man in a job,
It's true.
But the Great Khali is trash. Oh my God.
Look, there's no way to dress it up. Like
he's trash.
But bro,
there's a lesson in it. There's a lesson.
He's an icon in what he done.
Icon where?
For like international, global, like India.
They done a show maybe about 2 months ago now. I can't remember. I think it's called Superstar Spectacle. It's on the network, right? Where they it was in line with like some type of Indian Independence Day or something like that. And they showed like these Indian superstars that have been training over there that are in their NXT, developmental system. They put them against like Finn Balor. Who else? Jinder Mahal had a match with some of them. They weren't impressive, not yet. Maybe they're still learning and stuff, which is fine. They said 20 million people tuned in India.
I don't care.
But that is why he is where he is. That's what I'm saying. I don't care. I don't care in this kind of stuff. And to be honest, I hate talking about this kind of stuff. I hate talking ratings.
You know what? Yeah, no.
At the end of the day, but from a financial point of view, this is why he is where he is.
Man, bun him, man. He's so trash, bro. I told big up to Summit. He's of the Indian persuasion. I told him, I said, you man kept him in a job. This is what we need to do as people of color, bro. We need to come together, like the Indian people come together for the Great Khali. I'm telling you, bro. And nah.
Oh man,
I'm not here for that.
I'm fucking crying.
No, cry, bruv. I'm not here for it.
It's money at the end of the day, innit? Hey, Great Khali.
Yeah, but that's the problem. But that's the problem, innit? That's the problem with the Hall of Fame, innit?
100% it is.
That's the problem with the Hall of Fame, innit? Randy Savage had to sit down for years, but Great Khali gets in. Are you mad? Are you mugging me off, bruv?
There is
Jerry Lynn's at home, and Great Khali gets in.
Jerry Lynn works for AEW, so he's gonna have to wait a bit longer. Bro.
Low key. Who else could have gone in there? Low key. Nah, it gets me angry, bruv. It gets me angry.
I'm so glad you're here tonight.
Nah, it makes me angry, bro.
WWE is a corporation, bro.
I know, but bro, there's other people you could have put in there.
I hear that. 100%.
The great Khali, you know, bro. I swear he hasn't had a match that's worth more than 2 stars.
You know what? And I think they're about to launch, or their next project they're launching is NXT India. So
throw it in rice.
This is all
money move. Yeah, Rex is right. It's a money move. It is. Ozzy Osbourne is the Celebrity Hall of Famer.
Next.
All right. Let's talk about Eric Bischoff.
Easy
E.
I'm gonna show you guys something. So my belt here, you might not be able to see it. It's got Eric Bischoff's signature.
Eric Bischoff, yeah, I can see the signature there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So Bischoff continues his groundbreaking ways of breaking ground into the WWE Hall of Fame, of course. This man has revolutionized the business, and he's finally going to be immortalized in the Hall of Fame. Well, he finally was immortalized in the Hall of Fame last night. This is well overdue and so well deserved. And the fact that they actually did it as Bischoff himself, I'm very happy with, actually.
Yeah.
And they gave him his props. You know, they gave him his props for what he did for WCW, what he did coming up in the game, how he changed the game, how he changed the business, was he not the first guy to do extended contracts, like real, like long-term contracts?
I think so.
Yeah, he changed it because Vince was only paying you per quarter or where he gave you, like, you know, I'm going to pay you 3-year
guaranteed.
This guaranteed. That's it. The guaranteed contracts. That was the word I was looking for. You know, Bischoff changed. You know, did the whole NWO invasion that changed the T-shirt business going crazy. You know, obviously merch was always a big thing with the Hogan era, but he went to another new heights with Hogan again in the forefront with the NWO, and then obviously WWE was able to combat that with the Austin 316. You know, really. You know, people talk about the Attitude Era a lot. Who started it? Obviously, yes, a lot of it came from ECW, of course, but it didn't come to the mainstream until WCW did it.
Yeah,
you know? WCW really made it Attitude and become mainstream, and made WWE and forced WWE to up their game to become Attitude Era. WWE won the game, and Eric Bischoff comes into WWE programming as a talent. I remember seeing that in Trinidad and Tobago with my brother Andres K-Night, and we were just watching Monday Night Raw in Trinidad. And I see Vince McMahon on stage, and I think I must have like turned my head, and I heard Eric Bischoff. I'm like, what? And I turned around. I was like, no, this is. And you know, Vince used to always play the fool back then. I thought, this ain't real. There ain't gonna be no Bischoff. And Bischoff walked out the damn ring, bro. I could not believe my eyes. And they hugged in the ring. Yeah, and Bischoff did great work for the WWE as an in-ring talent. Kinetik, let's go to you first. Bischoff Hall of Fame, your thoughts?
Deserved, overdue. One of the few people on planet Earth that can say they beat Vince McMahon at his own game. There's not a lot of them. Yeah. The way he helped to turn wrestling into a business, like even, you know, the stadiums and arenas that WCW would go in, the merchandise, how he could take ideas from other people and kind of flip them. You know, we're MCs, you know, you take a sample, turn it into a beat. He took an idea from Japan, created the NWO, helped to bring a sense of realism. You know, the cruiserweight division. Woo! You know, come on, man. Like, you know, even, you know, don't get me wrong. I mean, even some of his bad decisions benefited other people, because him firing Steve Austin helped make Steve Austin become the star he is. Do you know what I mean? So even his bad decisions worked out at the end of the day. Maybe not for him, but for the business overall. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, he got into the ring, he scrapped, like, you know, Vince's in-ring work, he's not a wrestler, but his in-ring work is desirable. But Eric Bischoff did bits, man. And so much respect, even, you know, you talk about his come up in the business. I remember seeing Eric Bischoff with the suit and tie on, like Sean Mooney was in the event center back in the day, doing commentary. And Eric Bischoff, man, he's an absolute G. And I often wonder, had WCW not gone out of business, if they had got that TV deal, how things would have went.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest what ifs I have as a wrestling fan. I think all the ECW man then would have got snapped. It would have been madness for another 10 years.
It's kind of strange how that it always boggles the mind that they let that company go. Because for the money they were making and the ratings they were making, you would think somebody would like, because obviously Time Warner wanted to get rid of it, and that's why WWE flopped. But you would think somebody could have snapped it up in time, because I don't know if WWE bought it. I don't know if they thought, oh, WWE will buy this and they'll do something with it, which wasn't the case. But it's very strange how no other buyers came for that.
I think Eric Bischoff wanted to buy.
I think he did, yeah.
He was going to buy. If Eric Bischoff had bought WCW, like, I'm sad. I'm actually sad that there's no more WCW, because for the longest time, I think they had better matches.
They did.
And I'm talking about mid-90s stuff, the Steamboat stuff, the Rick Rudes, like Steamboat Steve Austin at Clash of the Champions, I forget which one, for the US belt, was crazy.
Legendary.
Crazy.
Do you think it was maybe because of these guaranteed contracts and the amount of money people were on as to why maybe it didn't get picked up by somebody
That's a contribution too. They were spending ridiculous money.
A few men sat out, like, I swear, after the invasion, because they knew they were having guaranteed contracts. Like, Sting sat at home for like a couple of years because he knew bread's coming.
Yeah. Same with
but
Nash,
no, Bischoff deserves it. Bischoff deserves it, man. Like, yeah, there's no pushback from me with that one.
Max?
Yeah, again, everything that's been said, man. This is someone, like I said earlier, that even on the on-screen capacity, I just liked him. He was just like the mastermind behind the NWO, especially once he joined the NWO. He was just like the cheeky kid that was hanging with the cool guys, like kind of getting away with it sort of thing, always taking the sly digs at what's going on in WWF at the time. The moment you said, which will live in my memory forever, him walking out on that WWE stage, like, it's just incredible. It's literally like incredible. Forget all this forbidden door stuff we're seeing now with people moving companies and all of that. Like, that is original kind of forbidden door stuff. So yeah, just absolutely crazy. And him still trying to contribute to WWE. They employed him like literally maybe like 2 years ago to do some producer work or something like that. It didn't quite work out. He left or got sacked soon after. Jumping between AEW, helping AEW with their product. He's got obviously a very successful podcast right now. And then literally I think he was on AEW TV like literally 3 weeks ago, back on WWE TV with the Hall of Fame. Just an absolute legend, done so much for this business. Like, can't deny that he deserves it.
And Rich Herring, who has been in WWE company for over 50 years, got the Warrior Award on the second night of Hall of Fame, or the 2021 version of Hall of Fame. So big up Rich Herring. And let's talk about the main inductee tonight at the 2021 Hall of Fame. That's gotta be Kane. Kane has finally been inducted to the Hall of Fame. It might have been a bit too early, in my opinion. He got inducted over Undertaker, over The Rock, over so many other people.
Maybe
I don't need to worry about that. I guess it is what it is. People get
maybe this is him finally hanging up that moniker so that he can really go off and be the mayor of.
I think so.
Right. Whatever. Because that's what he is, the mayor right now. But obviously he gets drawn back into doing WWE stuff. Maybe this is just him really closing the chapter, closing the door, so that he can be maybe taken seriously over there. But this video package they made for Kane,
amazing.
Bruv, they made this guy look like Undertaker.
Yeah, I know.
And I literally tweeted afterwards, why didn't Kane have an Undertaker-esque kind of career? Why wasn't his mystique kind of protected to that level? Because this video package was world class. Like, they made him look so good.
He deserves that, though.
100.
He deserves it.
That's a good question, Max. But that's a good question what Max is asking. It's because it's true.
Where did it go wrong? Like,
when he first,
you know what I think went wrong. And sorry to cut you, bro. I think it's you said it, Max. The mystique, taking off the mask, him talking. Yeah, it took away the mystique, bro.
It was the talking. It was the mask reveal that mashed up the whole thing.
Yeah. And when you saw his face and that, and he had the eyeshadow and that, like smudged and that, I said, all my life, my whole life, you told me he was burnt up, bruv. And this is it?
I'm gonna say, I think that's exactly it. Because Max is right. When you look back at it, lightning doesn't normally strike twice in this world, right? But it struck twice with the Undertaker debut in 91 and the Kane debut in 97, because Kane's debut, kids were legitimately scared of the Kane character too.
I was frightened.
It was a fantastic introduction debut. Like, I remember watching that thinking, you know what? I'll tell you one thing that I will say though. I swear on my mother's life, this is a true story. Or you can call my brothers, and don't even ask me this question. Call my brothers now, and they'll tell you the same story, right? So the night Kane debuted, right? We're watching it. Me and my brothers were watching it together. And I'm like, yo, shit, this character is mad. Like, who's this guy? Like, I'm a kid in it. So I'm like, who's this? And me and my brothers were all in awe, apart from my oldest brother named Stefan. And Stefan sees the way my man walks. And he goes, that's Isaac Yankem, bro.
He saw it already?
He called it from the first night, bro. I went, no, it's not. He goes, yeah, fake Diesel. That's fake, because maybe it was fake Diesel before. He goes,
yeah.
That's fake Diesel. I was like, no, it's not. Yeah, that's fake Diesel, bro. And he was fucking right. So anyway, but that's a crazy story.
Shout out to Stefan, boy.
That's a good eye, boy.
He said, do this shit all the time, though. Like, even when Austin made his debut as the ringmaster, he's like, yeah, that's Sterling Steve Austin. Oh, well, that's not Sterling Steve. So that is.
Right, that's an original mark, bro.
Yeah. No, Kane is different, bro. Like, he kept that gimmick going for 20 years, bro.
Yeah, but I'm gonna Mex is right, because, and you're right as well, Kinetik, because he had that gimmick and he had that, that fear factor for a long time. He was over, and then they took off the damn mask, and then,
bro, he took 3 tombstones at WrestleMania.
Had the smudge look on his face, the hair, I don't know what he was doing to his hair. I don't think he was losing his hair then.
Bro,
the hair was attached to the mask.
It was mad. The extensions was on the mask, bro.
But he actually had a whole head of hair before that, though.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
So did they tell him to shave part of his hair off?
Bro, he wasn't prepared. He got to Raw that night. They say, yeah, you're taking off the mask. He's like, bro, have you seen my haircut, bro? Like.
Well, Kinetik's right though. Even before the mask, it may have been the talking, and just kind of making him real. They showed segments in the package where he had comedy segments with The Rock and stuff like that.
That was funny though. That was funny.
It was great stuff, but now looking back on it, it's like, yeah, like this is where it kind of derailed him.
It's like Abyss, bro, because I know Abyss has been compared to him a lot, but when Abyss started talking, as amazing as his promos were, it took away the mystique.
Shall I tell you another reason why the mystique of Kane might have crumbled as well? I don't think you guys are remembering what The Rock used to do to man,
What, like boy him off?
The Rock used to, but The Rock will boy everybody.
My name is Kane. Disrespect.
That promo when he goes, Kane, I'm gonna give you the batteries, shine them all up, put it into your voice box when you go and say this. My name is Kane, and I'm a Rudy Poo Candy. Listen, see those promos there, yeah? They were so disrespectful.
And this is why I keep telling people, I know there's been some debates about The Rock's ethnic heritage. You don't go at a man like that. I know where The Rock comes from. I know what his house was like. To come at a man like that,
he's a black man.
He's trained.
Yeah.
My name is, bro. I remember not to go off on a tangent. I remember when The Rock, when he was I can't remember who he was talking to. He said, "I'm gonna stick your head so far up your ass, they're gonna have to cut holes in your nipples just to see."
Was that Billy Gunn?
That was Backlash. It was a Backlash event. Who was he wrestling at Backlash?
It might have been Triple H.
One of them, man.
It might have been Triple H.
He was very disrespectful.
Yeah. Very.
He called Goldberg a lily-livered bitch.
He used to call Undertaker about his big head, his 300 oversized pound oversized head.
I don't know how that man kept straight face around him, The
Rock was the best. But yeah, Kane, they did flop with his character a bit, but did he also come back as the evil Kane, WrestleMania 20? Obviously, I know he took 3 tombstones, as Kinetik said. And then he reinvented himself with the comedy segments. Team Hell No was quite fun. I really enjoyed Team Hell No. Yeah, man. Props to Kane. He deserves it.
Props.
He's only had the WWE title for one night, isn't it?
I don't understand.
And he beat Austin.
Bro, I'm reading his stats here. They're saying he's had the most cumulative Royal Rumble match eliminations at 46. He's eliminated 46 man. But never won it, bruv. One time he held the belt for one night. He's a one-time world heavyweight champion too.
One time, and he won the world heavyweight championship. And then
Once.
did he not beat? He beat Rey Mysterio for it when he cashed in or something like that against Rey Mysterio.
I think so, yeah, because he was Money in the Bank winner.
He was the first person to cash in on the same night that he won it.
Right.
But I think that also says, how great the character of Kane was. Like in many ways, he didn't need belts.
It's very much like the Undertaker. Like when we remember the Undertaker, it's not because of how many championships he ever held. It's just the Undertaker. Like it says a lot. These guys, man. This is where I started watching and thinking, God, Kane is in the Hall of Fame. Like, how old am I? Like,
you're getting up there, bro.
It's literally crazy. Like,
you're getting up there, fam.
It's mad. But
respect to Kane.
100.
Oh, absolutely. Before we sign off. I'm trying to remember who was in the legacy class of 2021.
Let me get it up for you, bro. I've got it here.
There was one black man that I saw. I forget his name now.
Pez Wheatley. Yeah.
I'm interested in looking back at some of his stuff.
Yeah. He had some great matches in well, he was in WWE.
Oh, okay. Skillet's dropped out. But we're just talking about Pez Wheatley. That do you know much about him, Kinetik?
No, I don't. But I'm looking at him now, and you say he's a black man, so I'm down with it.
Yeah, they put him over pretty good when they were inducting him.
He looks like Mandem. So I'm gonna support this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing. What happened to you, Skillet?
We gotta edit this episode, boy. I'm sorry about that, my bro.
Minor.
But he had some great matches at NWA and WWE. And I think I don't know if he wrestles in Mid-South, but yeah, I do remember him. And it's good to see him have his due. I think he was wrestling in WCW, I believe, if I remember, when he died.
I like these inductions though, because it's going to give people, like myself and even younger fans, a chance to go back and do research and catch up. I think that's dope. I think that's dope.
I think Dick the Bruiser was one of the Hall of Famers as well.
Yeah, he was.
That's right.
One of the legacy wins.
Yep, well deserved.
Another one that's arguably
Buzz Sawyer.
Buzz Sawyer, yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Could be in the Hall of Fame, but
Ethel Johnson, I don't know who that is.
I don't know that.
Respect.
I don't know.
Respect.
Ethel Johnson, is it African American?
That's the woman they said is the first woman to do a drop kick, a standing drop kick.
Was she the one?
Woman.
African American, yeah.
Was she the one that spoke out against the Fabulous Moolah?
I'm not sure.
I'm reading it now.
But yeah, that I think that made a lot of people's ears prick up that were watching it like live and watching it on Twitter, reporting on Twitter. They said, yeah, this is the first ever black woman to do a standing drop kick. And it was like, raw. So which is pretty impressive. Nice little accolade to have to your name.
Yeah. No, rest in peace, Ethel Johnson. I need to go and do my homework on her.
100.
Yeah. Same. All right, but yeah, it was.
And Paul Bosch, I think I've.
Yeah.
Paul Bosch. I pronounced that right.
Yeah, Paul Bosch. So yeah, big up all those names, respect to them. More like I said to Mex last week, that's one of my favorite things in the Hall of Fame. When they first started introducing Legacy Ring, I was over the moon, and it's looking like we're starting to see more wrestlers in the color. Those who wrestled in the 80s and 90s are creeping up. So more to it. What kind of names do you think we'll see in the Legacy Ring going forward before we sign out? I think Dynamite Kid will be in the Legacy Ring. I don't know if he will get a Hall of Fame because of controversial.
All he did was punch out a man's teeth.
He's done more than that, my friend.
I know, but like, come on, man.
Domestic violence.
Right. Yes. Yeah,
so
that's a tricky one.
He might get Legacy Wing.
He does. Yeah, I don't think the Legacy Wing is legitimate without him.
Bobby Eaton probably be Legacy.
He's not dead.
No, but they don't have to be dead.
I thought these men was dead, bruv.
Oh, a lot of them are. But they don't.
Bobby Eaton can't be Legacy. Nah, man, I'm wilding out for that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Nah, fam.
When the hell is Midnight Express getting inducted? I've been asking this question for the longest time.
That is very true.
What
the
is going
Steiner
on?
brothers.
Steiner brothers need to get inducted.
But Scott Steiner ain't coming to take no award, 100%.
I think he will.
I think he will.
I think he will.
I think he'll do it.
Especially because
he'll do it for his brother.
Rick Steiner's son is in WWE right now.
And they're real brothers, innit?
Yeah, they're brothers.
Yeah. So that's his nephew. Yeah, it's his nephew.
Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah, you got to have the Steiners in there, bro.
100%.
You do. I just don't know if he's in the right headspace to do that kind of business with WWE.
Oh, it's a shame, man. I remember one time I went to see TNA and I started shouting at Scott Steiner. I said to him, yo, man, you need a bus pass. I started shouting at him, bruv. The way he looked at me, I stopped, bruv. I stopped.
He's mental.
Yeah,
there was some footage of him doing some independent show maybe like a month ago, and someone was like shouting something from the crowd. He literally just walked out the ring, picked up some chairs ringside, and launched them into the crowd at this person, like 2 or 3 chairs.
Yeah, he's not for play, bro. He's not for play.
Do you think Matt Bourne during the Clan will get legacy?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I don't think he deserves it.
Scorpio, you get legacy or Hall of Fame?
He's Hall of Fame worthy, bro.
He's got to be Hall of Fame still.
He's Hall of Fame worthy, yeah.
But his
Charles
WWE
Skaggs
run wasn't great.
Don't matter. He's Hall of Fame from ECW, in my opinion, bro.
Yeah, no,
you're right.
No, he is.
And WCW. He was hard in WCW.
Mate,
yeah, Too Cold Scorpio.
I still see him doing his thing on the indies now.
Yeah, I think it was you who shared the video. I was like,
he's still moving mad, bro. He's still moving mad.
With his bar lid.
With bar lid.
Yeah.
Sabu needs to go in.
Nah, he needs to be Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Sabu's Hall of Fame, man.
Yeah.
Sabu and Taz.
Sandman can go legacy.
No, you can't let man like him in the Hall of Fame. He's so disrespectful, bruv.
Him and New Jack can go legacy.
No, New Jack's wild. He shouldn't be in there at all.
I think he'll get legacy though.
No, don't put him in there.
For his controversial brass manner,
bro.
New Jack
it'll be a very long time.
I watched Dark Side of the Ring, bro. Why did New Jack bore up a man in the ring?
Bro,
yeah, I know.
I don't even know how New Jack's out here doing road, bro.
I remember that vividly.
What's wrong with him?
I remember that.
What's wrong with him?
I remember that was one of the most shared tape that was passed around in the wrestling industry. Was that tape? And I
bro, why do you have a knife on you in the first place?
Yeah, it's mad. So
shouldn't be doing road still.
But he brought the road to wrestling, bro.
He definitely did.
Nah, New Jack can't. No, don't put him in. I think the second incarnation of the Hart Foundation should go in.
Legacy or Hall of Fame?
Hall of Fame. Brett could be the first 3-time.
Listen, this is something. This would be a great way to put Pillman in, Owen in.
Yeah.
But obviously the whole Owen thing is.
That's right.
Sad.
That's the issue. That's
that's what it is.
That's right.
All right. Well, listen, Kinetik, we want to give you a big thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for the invite, bro.
Absolutely awesome. We'll get you back in again as soon as possible. Next time with Summit as well. We do.
Don't invite him. He don't know nothing, man. Man will pull up, start talking about the great Khali, you know. I remember one time we did our podcast and he started bringing up Jinder Mahal. I'm like, yeah, now you want to talk wrestling, innit?
Exactly. They're proud of their people, though. I love that.
Nah, man. Bun Great Khali and Bun Summit.
Okay, well, where can people find your podcast if they're fans of hip hop music? You had loads of great guests on your podcast, the likes of Rascas, the likes of there's so many, bro. I'm trying to remember.
Apollo Brown, Pete Rock, Jaquan.
You've had so many great A-lister hip hop legends on your podcast. Where can people find you, hip hop lovers, to listen to the Kick Out podcast?
Okay, so we're Breaking Atoms. Just type in Breaking Atoms wherever you listen to podcasts. It should come up as Breaking Atoms, the hip hop podcast. And you know, we're there. If you're a lover of hip hop, check it out. I co-host the show with Summit, and I often compare how hip hop and wrestling, the audiences match, and I make weird wrestling references. So if you're into all that stuff, you should enjoy the show.
Thank you. And where can they follow you personally?
I am Kinetik. That's I am Kinetik, Kinetik. That's the same on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on Chat House, but I don't really. Is it Chat House? No, Clubhouse. I'm on there.
That shows how much you're not.
Yeah, I don't really enjoy it, but I'm there.
And Kinetik, you and I have a song that should be coming out soon.
Really soon.
Very soon.
I've got some business that I need to talk to you about, both of you, when we stop recording this.
Okay, wicked. Dedicated to the late great Bam Bam Bigelow. We got a tune.
Come on.
Cool. What are we calling the tune? Bam Bam Bigelow, I guess.
Yeah, it's Bam Bam Bigelow, innit?
Bam Bam Bigelow.
That's what it says on the tin, innit?
But it's a dope joint. A lot of wrestling references and lyricism in the bars. So and the beat. Shout out to K-Night30, my brother, who sampled the Bam Bam Bigelow theme. So that's going to be coming out soon. And we'll plug that on the show as well. But
absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us. And for those for listening, I've been Ryan Skillett. This has been
Kick Out Podcast.
Max. No, give it your name, Max.
Oh, Max, WrestleMania UK.
And we are the Kick Out Podcast. So follow us at Kick Out Podcast. Thank you. See you later.